My fiancée slept with the bartender at her bachelorette's. I left her a note, took my ring back, and blocked her family before she ever noticed. I'm a 28-year-old guy. My fiancée Emma and I had been together for 4 years. We met in college, and it felt like something out of a movie, one of those cheesy rom-coms where everything just clicks. She was beautiful, smart, and way out of my league. We started off slow, but as the months went by, it felt like we were building something real, something solid. Everyone around us saw it too. Our friends called us the perfect couple. My family adored her. Emma was easy to love, easy to talk to, and her laugh was contagious. I'd come home from work and find her sitting on the couch, reading a book or making dinner. And it felt like I was living in some kind of fairy tale. We talked about the future all the time, about where we'd live, how many kids we'd have, the vacations we'd take, everything. The wedding was months away, but we had every detail planned. I picked out the venue. She picked the dress. We were both so excited to start this next chapter of our lives together. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew everything about her. We'd gone through the highs and lows of our relationship, fights, makeups, family drama, but this felt different. It felt like we were finally on solid ground. I trusted her with my whole heart. Every morning I'd wake up to her beside me, and it felt like we were invincible. I couldn't imagine my life without her. I didn't know then. But the worst betrayal was coming, and I was completely blind to it. But for now, everything seemed perfect. Emma's bachelorette weekend was finally here. It felt like it came so quickly, and I'll admit, I wasn't thrilled about her being away, but I was supportive. She deserved a fun, carefree weekend with her closest friends before the chaos of the wedding. Besides, we'd talked about it, and I had no reason to be worried. The night before she left, we were sitting on the couch, scrolling through her packing list. She made jokes about how she was going to get wild and have one last fling before settling down with me. I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me at all. I thought it was harmless. She was just being playful, right? I mean, I trusted her completely. She gave me a quick kiss before she left and promised she wouldn't do anything stupid. "I swear, you have nothing to worry about," she said. "I'm just going to have a good time with the girls. You know, nothing crazy." I nodded, smiling as I kissed her goodbye. I thought we were in a solid place. She'd never given me any reason to doubt her. I knew she was going to have fun, but in the back of my mind, I told myself there was no way anything would happen. She wouldn't do that to me. Not Emma. I waved goodbye as she hopped into the car with her friends, and I didn't think twice. I was too secure in what we had, too sure that nothing could come between us. But there was this tiny, nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach that I couldn't shake. It was so faint, so easy to ignore. But now I know I should have listened to it. A few hours after Emma left, I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone when I noticed a text from one of her friends, Sarah. It was strange. It wasn't anything big, just a simple, "I hope everything's going okay." At first, figured maybe she was just being nice, checking in on me since Emma was away. But something about the text rubbed me the wrong way. It felt ... off. Like, why would Sarah text me that? It wasn't like we were close. She and Emma had been friends for years, and I'd never really had any reason to talk to her much. So why would she care about how I was doing? I responded, trying to brush it off. "Yeah, everything's good, just missing Emma. Everything all right with you guys?" The response came almost immediately, which felt a little too fast. "Yeah, everything's fine. Just making sure you're okay, that's all." There was an edge to the way she worded it, almost like she was trying too hard to reassure me. It was subtle, but the defensiveness in her reply made my stomach twist. I couldn't put my finger on why, but it felt wrong. Something about the way she phrased it, like she was trying to cover something up. I told myself I was overthinking it. She was probably just being friendly. maybe it was nothing. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That nagging voice in the back of my head wouldn't stop. I stared at my phone for a while, rereading the messages, trying to make sense of it. I didn't want to seem paranoid. I trusted Emma, didn't I? But still, that unease lingered. And deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The next morning, my phone buzzed just as I was sitting down for breakfast. It was a call from Ben, a mutual friend of both Emma and me. I hadn't talked to him in a while, so I wasn't sure what this was about. "Hey man, you good?" he asked, his voice sounding strange, almost hesitant. "Yeah, just missing Emma," I said, trying to sound normal. "What's up?" There was a pause before he spoke again. "Look, I don't know how to say this, but I think you should know something." His voice dropped lower, almost like he was afraid of what he was about to say. I sat up straight, my heart starting to race. "What do you mean?" "I wasn't at the Bachelorette party, but—" "Someone sent me a video," Ben said, the tension in his voice growing. "It's not good." I felt my stomach drop. A video. What the hell was he talking about? Apparently, someone at the party had filmed Emma with the bartender. It wasn't clear who exactly took the video, but it was circulating among a few of their friends. "Look, man," Ben said, hesitating. "I don't know if it's a big deal, but—" In the video, Emma's really close with this guy. She's laughing with him, touching his arm, like a little more than friendly. People are talking. I felt a cold sweat break out across my forehead. I asked if he could send it to me, and he did. When I opened it, the quality was grainy, the lighting dim, but there she was, laughing too hard at something the bartender had said, her hand resting on his arm. It was so casual, so natural, like she was completely comfortable with him. I hated that feeling in my gut, the sickening, slow realization that maybe my worst fear was coming true. But still, no concrete proof. I wasn't going to jump to conclusions. Not yet. Still, something felt terribly wrong. I couldn't sit on this anymore. I had to know the truth. The video was eating at me, gnawing away at my thoughts every second. I wasn't going to let it go any longer, so I called Emma. It rang a few times before she picked up. Her voice sounded light, carefree. "Hey babe, how's your weekend going?" I could barely hear her over the pounding in my head. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Emma, we need to talk." She immediately sounded concerned. "What's wrong? Is everything okay with you?" I asked, my words coming out sharper than I intended. Because I saw the video. There was a long pause. I could practically hear her heart stop. "What video?" she asked, her voice suddenly defensive. "The one from your Bachelorette weekend." "The one where you're all over the bartender," I said, the words choking me. "What the hell happened, Emma?" She laughed nervously. "It's nothing, I swear. It's not what you think. The video was taken out of context, okay?" I could feel my anger rising, but I held it in, trying to stay calm. "Emma, cut the crap. I need the truth. Did you sleep with him?" The silence that followed felt like it stretched on forever. My stomach twisted into knots as I waited for her response. Finally, she sighed, her voice small, almost ashamed. "It was just a stupid mistake," she admitted quietly. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It didn't mean anything." I felt a chill run through me. "A stupid mistake," I repeated, my voice cracking. My trust, everything we had built, crumbled in that moment. "You slept with him, Emma. That's not a stupid mistake." I wanted to scream, to ask how she could do this to me, but instead I felt numb. She apologized over and over, but the words felt empty, meaningless. The person I thought I knew, the woman I thought I was going to marry, was gone. Emma kept talking, her voice trembling, trying to explain herself, but every word felt like a dagger. "It wasn't like that," she said. "The bartender, he was just a distraction. I've been so stressed with the wedding, everything, and I needed to blow off some steam. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A distraction. So that's what I was, a placeholder for her attention, while she went off and found comfort in the arms of a stranger. I wanted to scream at her, tell her how much she had hurt me, but I couldn't. My chest was tight, and I just felt empty. I had been living in a lie for 4 years, okay? And now all I had were pieces of a relationship I could barely recognize. "I'm sorry," she continued. But the apology felt hollow. "I was drunk, and I made a mistake. I'm not like that. You know I love you." The words were coming out faster now, but it didn't matter. I was beyond hearing them. She wasn't even owning up to what she had done. It wasn't a mistake, was a choice. She chose to let someone else touch her. She chose to let someone else into her life, into our life. And now I was left with the wreckage. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, and I could almost hear the panic in her voice. "I just thought we'd laugh about it later." "You're overreacting, overreacting." My mind was screaming. How was I overreacting? She had destroyed everything we had built, and yet here she was, minimizing it, brushing it off like it was some small mistake I should just forgive. I wanted to leave, to hang up the phone and never look back. But I was frozen, staring at the floor, feeling like a fool for ever believing she was the person I thought she was. The pain wasn't just from the betrayal. It was the complete lack of genuine remorse, the realization that I was nothing more than an afterthought to her. I locked myself in my room, away from everything, away from her, away from the world. The door was shut, but it felt like the walls were closing in on me. I stared at my phone, the videos still playing in front of me. Over and over, I watched it. Each time, it hit harder. The way she smiled at him, that laugh she reserved for him, the way she touched his arm. I saw it again and again and again. I felt my chest tighten each time, my heart shattering a little more with every replay. I couldn't believe it. The woman I had planned to spend my entire life with, my future, the person I trusted with everything, had betrayed me in the most hurtful way imaginable. I had believed in her. I had believed in us. But now, all I had was this video. This undeniable proof that everything I thought I knew about her was a lie. My anger and sadness mixed into a boiling rage. I could feel it rising in me, burning my insides, but I didn't know where to put it. There was nowhere to direct it. I wanted to yell, to break something, to do something, but I couldn't move. I was just stuck, frozen in this awful moment. I couldn't stop thinking about all the times I had looked at her, thinking she was my everything. The woman I was going to marry. The woman who had been there through it all. How could she have done this? How could she be so heartless? But as the anger raged, so did the confusion. I didn't even know what I was feeling anymore. Betrayal, pain, confusion, they were all blending together into something I couldn't untangle. I couldn't think straight. My mind kept spinning, trying to make sense of it, but nothing made sense. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but instead, I just sat there, staring at the video, staring at the woman who wasn't the woman I thought she was. In that moment of rage, everything shifted. It was like a switch had been flipped inside me, and suddenly the clarity I'd been lacking washed over me. I couldn't marry her. Not after what had happened. Not after seeing the video and hearing her excuses. I thought about all the plans we'd made, the life we'd talked about building together. But now, it felt like it was all just a lie. How could I spend the rest of my life with someone who betrayed me so easily? Someone who could brush it off like it was nothing. The pain twisted in my chest, but it was mixed with something else, something that felt like a heavy relief. I knew I had to walk away. It was the only way I could ever get back to myself. The only way I could start healing. I didn't want to, not really. I wanted to believe that we could work through this, that I could forgive her. But I couldn't. I couldn't even look at her the same way anymore. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the video, her laughing with him. It was like a scar that wouldn't fade. I paced around the room, my thoughts spinning, my mind trying to find some solution. Some way to make it all go away. But it didn't work that way, did it? There was no magical fix for betrayal. The truth was, I had to take control. I couldn't let her control the narrative anymore. Couldn't let her keep me trapped in this whirlwind of hurt and confusion. I thought about the wedding, about everything we'd planned. It all felt like a dream now one that had been shattered into pieces. I grabbed my phone, fingers trembling as I typed out the words. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I didn't even know if I had the strength to send it, but I did. It was over. The decision was made. I didn't want to drag this out. I didn't want to yell, to fight, to have a long, drawn-out conversation where she tried to justify herself again. I didn't want to listen to her apologies that felt as empty as her words. I just wanted it to end. I wrote her a note, short, simple, to the point. I can't do this anymore. Take care. It wasn't much, but it felt like everything I needed to say. There was no room for anything else. No room for pleading, no room for excuses. I meant every word. The pain was real, but so was the clarity that came with this decision. I didn't even know if she would read it. I didn't care. What mattered was that I finally had control over something. I finally had the strength to do what I should have done days ago. I reached down to my finger, and for the first time, I took off my ring. The ring that symbolized everything I thought we had. I set it down next to the note. It felt surreal, but also ... necessary. I wasn't going to let this piece of metal define me anymore. I wasn't going to wear a symbol of a future that was never going to happen. I didn't leave a goodbye. I didn't leave anything else. There was no need for any more words, any more back and forth. She'd had her chance to come clean. She'd had her chance to be honest. And now, I was done. The decision felt final, almost peaceful in its simplicity. A clean cut. A moment of clarity amidst all the confusion, pain, and chaos. I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving the note and the ring behind. It was over. I didn't just block her. I blocked everyone, her family, her friends, anyone who might try to reach me on her behalf. It wasn't about being petty. It was about taking control. I had spent too long trying to explain myself, trying to make sense of everything. But I realized something. I didn't owe anyone an explanation anymore. I didn't owe her family or friends anything. They didn't deserve to hear my side of the story. They didn't deserve the chance to twist things, to make me the bad guy for finally standing up for myself. Her mother called first. I saw the name flash on my phone, and I didn't even hesitate. I hit block without a second thought. Then her brother, her best friend, a few cousins all the same. Blocked. I even deleted their messages. The ones where they begged me to reconsider, to talk to Emma. I didn't care. I wasn't interested in their apologies or excuses. They didn't get to make this about them. I was done being the scapegoat, done with being the one who always forgave, always overlooked the red flags. The first few hours after it all happened, I felt like I was drowning in this emotional chaos. But now there was something else. A strange, bittersweet sense of freedom. It wasn't a rush of happiness or relief, which a quiet, powering kind of peace. I had finally taken control of the narrative. For once, it wasn't about her. It was about me, about protecting myself. I had done what I needed to do. I had walked away, and as the phone rang and the messages kept coming, I didn't look back. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The only thing I needed now was to heal. Emma didn't realize what had happened until she came back from her weekend. I could imagine the confusion in her voice when she first called. She sounded frantic. "Where are you? What happened?" The panic was clear in her words. But there was something else too, something that felt more like desperation than concern. I didn't answer at first. Part of me wanted to let her explain herself, to hear her side of the story. But I knew there was nothing she could say that would make it right. She called again and then again. The messages started piling up. "Please talk to me. I don't know what happened, but we need to talk." I could feel the weight of her words, but I had nothing left to say. There was no apology that could fix this, no justification that would erase the betrayal. Her family tried to reach out, too. Her mom sent a message asking if everything was okay. Her brother texted asking if I was still coming over. I didn't reply to any of them. They didn't deserve an explanation. I could have tried to explain to them what had happened. I could have told them how deeply I was hurt, how everything I believed in had shattered in front of me. But what good would it have done? They were as much a part of this as Emma was, enabling her to sweep everything under the rug. I wasn't their responsibility to manage. I was done explaining myself to people who didn't truly understand me or the pain I was going through. The days after felt long, but quiet. I stayed silent, not answering her calls, not answering anyone. It felt like the calm after a storm, where everything was still. But I knew the damage was done. I was done. And as the silence stretched between us, I realized something new was finally over. Weeks passed, and for the first time in years, I focused on myself. It felt strange at first, like I was walking in someone else's shoes, trying to figure out who I was without her. But gradually, I started to find the pieces of myself I had lost along the way. I went back to the gym, something I hadn't done in months. It wasn't just about getting my body back in shape. It was about reclaiming control over anything. I started traveling, taking short trips to places I'd always wanted to visit. I didn't have anyone to answer to anymore, and that was freeing in a way I couldn't describe. The peace I'd been longing for finally settled in. I was waking up each day without the constant weight of betrayal on my chest. There were still hard days, of course. The memories of Emma, of us, still lingered in the back of my mind. But they didn't have power over me anymore. As I moved forward, something clicked. I realized I had been sacrificing my own happiness, my own sense of self, for someone who never truly cared about me the way I had cared for her. The woman I had trusted, the one I'd planned my future with, wasn't the woman I thought she was. And I had been blind to it for so long, thinking I could change things, fix it. But now I understood. I didn't need her to be whole. I didn't need anyone else to validate my worth. I was enough. I was stronger than I thought. And now I could see my future clearly. There were no more lies, no more heartbreaks. It's just a new chapter waiting for me. It wasn't the ending I'd hoped for, but it was the one I needed. The pain of betrayal had opened the door to a version of myself I'd never known, one that was free, empowered, and finally at peace.